Hello, this is Amy Zawi with the Jerusalem Connection Red Alert Report for Wednesday, August 7th. What's happening in legislative and judicial news? One of the weapons that the BDS movement uses, that is, the organizations that support boycotting, divesting, and sanction from the State of Israel in an effort to delegitimize it and demonize it, is to use the legal system. In Canada, for example, a recent court ruled that wines made in Judea and Samaria may not be labeled with the Made in Israel signage because it can be, quote, deceptive and untruthful and cause confusion to consumers. However, the Canadian Free Trade Agreement recognizes Judea and Samaria as, and the products therein, under the Israeli origin category. Moreover, the group seeking to remove the Made in Israel signage wanted the label to read, Made in Occupied Palestinian Territories. Of course, thank God, the court declined to that request. In fact, the court did not say what the label should say. It simply said that it could not say Made in Israel. The decision will be appealed because no evidence revealing how the Made in Israel signage would confuse customers, and the fact that products in Judea and Samaria are categorized in trade documentation as Israeli. The Canadian Free Trade Agreement clearly makes products from Judea and Samaria part of the Israelis' customs territory. Canadian organization label wines from the occupied Narango-Karabakh regions as made in Armenia. So, by this line of reasoning, this is another example of a special rule made just for the Jewish state. In U.S. lawmaking, good news, on July 24, 2019, the U.S. House of Representatives overwhelmingly passed an anti-BDS resolution. 350 legislators co-sponsored the bill, 175 from each party, clearly indicating the bipartisan recognition that the boycott, divest, and sanction movement is clearly anti-Semitic. House Resolution 246 was sponsored in part by Bradley Schneider, a Democrat from Illinois, and he opposes the boycott, divest, and sanction movement, including, this is a quote, all efforts to target United States companies that are engaged in commercial activities that are legal under United States law, and efforts to delegitimize the State of Israel. He also urges, quote, Israelis and Palestinians to return to direct negotiations as the only way to have a lasting Israeli-Palestinian peace. 398 U.S. House of Representatives voted in support of the resolution. 17 voted against it. 16 of those were Democrats. And I'm sure you can guess of those 16 Democrats who were among them. Omar Tlaib and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. A day after the resolution was passed, Tlaib and AOC doubled down publicly on their reasoning for not supporting the House measure, and that they do support BDS activities. Aside from a bunch of nonsensical reasoning that includes some nonspecific buzzwords that Israel is racist and oppressive, AOC actually has such a low opinion of folks that she says that if they are not allowed to participate in BDS, they will resort to violence. In an article reported by Noah Pollack, he pointed out, let me translate AOC's tweet. She just said that the non-binding resolution stating the House's opposition to the anti-Semitic BDS movement will force people into terrorism. Among other things, this is a stunning indictment of the anti-Israeli movement. Please keep in mind that the media once again pretend that the squad, whose members have gone above and beyond to indicate their anti-Semitic notions and threaten violence against Jews, are indeed the victims here. Her actual tweet said, my concern with being overly punitive on nonviolent forms of protest is that it forces people into other channels that I would hate to be a part of, paving the way for that kind of path. Well, clearly, this is just a low opinion of anti-Israel people, and she thinks that if they can't debate or have some sort of nonviolent expression, that they'll report to violence. However, terrorism already exists and the violence is already there. Keep in mind that violent terrorism and blatant violent speech is widely and largely accepted in social media and in press circles, as evidenced by the New York Times cartoons this past spring. And I personally know people who have posted these anti-Semitic and anti-Jewish and anti-Israel tropes and cartoons and retweets of hateful people's sayings, and those people who did the tweeting to expose it were actually shut down for so-called hate speech. So let's keep in mind that truth is only true in its full context, and it is our job to dig down and find it. Shavua Tov. Have a great week.